Welcome back to BrainFLoTv. If you've never been here before, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button, please. Let's get right into the topics, material, what we got going on. Silento. Damn. Watch me whip, whip. Watch me nae nae. Okay. Whip, whip. Now watch me do it. That song. Damn. Who would ever think that the kid that sang that song that went viral and sold millions and hundreds of millions. That song has over 1 billion with a B views on YouTube. That song took Silento around the world. That song changed his life, made him a superstar overnight. And then with that came all the problems. So as y'all know by now, Silento was recently sentenced to 30 years in prison for taking the life of his cousin. That's not what we really here to talk about, because that's old news, right? What we here to talk about, though, is Silento's appearance after he was sentenced. If you notice, right, Silento got his head shaved. I want y'all to pay close attention to what I'm about to say. This video ain't gonna be too long. Silento got his head shaved. They got him up against the wall where you gotta take your height measurement and all that. If you look closely at that picture, you will also see that Silento is, look at his t-shirt. Look at the neck of his t-shirt. You know when somebody grab you by your neck of your shirt, like right here in your chest, and grab you right there and pull you along? It looked like they grabbed his ass and pulled them over there to be photographed for his measurements. He's been incarcerated for some time now. But I'm going to tell you right now, and I don't want to say it, but I have to say it, it ain't looking too good behind bars for Silento. Silento, he ain't gangster enough. He's not the type. He's more like the type to be manipulated and the type to be taken advantage of. And y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, maybe I've been watching too many of these Fleece Booty Johnson videos, but Fleece said when you have young men that go into prison, and they go into prison at the prime of their life, testosterone is on fleek, running all through their bodies. They horny all the damn time. Please don't think that when they were arrested and they were brought into these facilities, that sex thing was left outside. It came into the prison with them. He himself said he wasn't expecting to ever get out of prison, and it took him many years, but he remembered when he started to change. He remembered when he looked around one day and he started finding another dude attractive. And then he was like, oh shit, fuck, I don't want to. And eventually he gave into it, expecting to have a long sentence or never ever be able to come out again. Silento got 30 years, man. He is in his 20s. He got 30 years. 30 years is no joke. There is no half time for him. There is no splitting his time in half and the first 12 hours is one day and the next 12 hours is another day. So you end up with 15 years instead of 30. There's no getting out on good behavior. He pled guilty to a lesser charge of manslaughter. That was the deal. He was facing life without the possibility of parole, and he copped to 30 instead on a manslaughter charge. There will be no early release for him. Sad to see this young kid who at one time was a young kid who had so much promise and talent, and you know, he was dancing and so jovial and so happy. Sad to see him turn out like this. I'm looking at the picture of him being measured up against that wall, and I can't help but to notice how much he looks like a victim and how much he looks victimized. I feel like the apes in the jungle in prison are going to be having their way with him in there. I wouldn't be surprised if by the time he's able to get out, that he is fully on the other side, or he is switching lanes or straddling the fence as we speak because of his experiences behind bars. Not only that, he might be one of them who gives in willingly because 30 years is a long time and people have needs. People get lonely. Honestly, I've heard and seen people do interviews where they were doing like 40, 50, 30 years. And they talk stories about 8, 9, 10 years in. Got high in my cell one night with me and my cellie, and next thing you know, we just started going at it because both of us had long sentences and we just needed somebody to hold, somebody to confide in, somebody to love you, blah, blah, blah. Ew. Anyways, so speaking of the realities of what happens behind bars in prison, and I'm not saying that everybody that goes behind those bars gets involved in that, because that's not the case. But I do know people who have done time, more than one, more than two, more than three, more than four, more than five. I have family members who have done time, stretch of times, for murder. I'm from the Caribbean. I'm from Jamaica. I have family members who committed murder in the United States of America and got deported back to Jamaica. My family members tell me stories about what goes on behind those walls. They say usually it's the people with the less time who come in there who get involved in the homo activities. Yes, some people, it is taken from them. And I think prison taking is something that is not talked about enough in the United States of America with the intention to stop it. People talk about it as in something for entertainment. I don't know why you would want to be finding that entertaining, like a man goes to prison and his manhood is taken by other men. We're outraged when a man forces himself on a woman and takes that against her will. We should be equally outraged as when men are victimized behind bars. That's prison life. In prison life, you got to understand, a lot of testosterone locked in together. That is the jungle for real. I think that environment was created for those things to happen, so that we will have broken and traumatized people coming out of those environments and back into our society, where they will then perpetuate those behaviors, and also it will fuel the revolving door system, meaning a lot who offended and went in will come out not rehabilitated, but more damaged than they went in, and they will end up eventually going back in or imparting that same behavior onto others who will eventually end up in prison. It's a cycle, and I think it's a cycle that was carefully designed to be this way, right? So while we're here talking about what Silento looks like, we have to be conscious of what's actually taking place. For the people out here who have loved ones behind bars, your loved ones ain't gonna tell you everything about what they experience behind bars. Just like a U.S. Army combat infantry veteran goes off to war, they don't come back home and tell their closest family members and loved ones everything they experienced while they were in combat. But you can see the behavioral changes. They're not the same person that you knew from before. So Silento just started his 30 years journey, and looking at him, it's going to be a rough 30 years for him. He's going to have to assimilate in order to survive, right? And he does not look like a predator to me. He more looks like a prey that will be preyed upon by predators. Silento is only 5 feet 3 inches tall, as you can see by the measurement board that he is standing up against. In the entertainment business, a lot of people lie. Like if an entertainer gets his first hit song at 40 years old, but he's been taking care of himself, plus, the makeup and all that other stuff and the lighting, they'll pass that entertainer off, male or female, as 30. Oh, today is her 29th birthday, when it's really her 39th birthday and she's about to be 40 tomorrow. But nobody wants to say, whoa, this 40-year-old is topping the charts. Because in our culture, people like to tell you, you an old head. At 40, pack it up. It's over. Make way for the new, the younger. So they like to lie about their height. They like to lie about their weight. They like to lie about their age. A lot of your favorite celebrities, if you think you know their age, and forget what Wikipedia says, anybody could put that up. If you think you know your favorite entertainer's age, add a couple of years to it. And some of them add up to a decade to it. So I was going through Silento's bio, his biography. And he is listed in the music entertainment industry as 5 feet 6 inches tall. But watching him stand against that prison wall measurement thing, he's 5'3". Now, 5'3" is very short. As I'm speaking into this microphone, doing this voiceover right here, I stand 6'5". Imagine being put in a cell where you're 5'3". He obviously got a little chunky, a chubby. He's putting on weight. He ain't dancing around no more. He looks like whatever medication they might have him on, plus the nasty prison food that they serve, with all overloaded with carbs and protein and no fiber. He's obviously putting on weight in there. He doesn't look like he's on a prison workout program. Some guys go to prison and they come out chiseled up, cut up. Maybe Silento will get to that sometime throughout his 30-year sentence, but he hasn't gotten to it yet, and it's obvious. You can tell by looking at him from his latest picture. Looking at him being put in a cell at 5'3", with a 6'5", 270-pound dude who's doing life, who's looking at never getting out, he's more than likely going to be victimized. And I know a lot of people might say, oh my God, don't be saying all that. But listen, my words out here will not change what's happening behind those bars in prison. A lot of people say, well, he shouldn't have done what he did. I have to reiterate, Silento had mental issues, and he spoke about the mental issues. He spoke about going through it, the manic depressive modes. He spoke about the hearing of the voices, not being in a good place mentally, but trying to mask it because it's not something you could just come out and say as an entertainer, hey, I'm losing my damn mind. And the funny thing is, which is not so funny, going to school and studying human development, psychology, abnormal psychology, I learned that mental health issues could start at different times in your life. But the most prominent time recorded in those medical journals is exactly around the time that Silento started experiencing the mental episodes. That's in your early 20s, right? And that's when he started experiencing those. He went through it. He couldn't get help or the help that he needed. And eventually, it ended up with him taking a life out of paranoia. And now he's doing 30 years behind bars. So the little whipping Nae Nae kid that we know, watch me whip, whip, watch me Nae Nae, okay, now watch me do it. That little kid is now a man behind bars. And I know those inmates in there are going to be telling him all the time, yo, sing that whipping Nae Nae shit for us. Hey, do the dance that go with it too. Whipping Nae Nae, nigga, whipping Nae Nae. It's going to be rough in there for him. It's going to be rough in there for him. If you've never been to prison before, if you don't know anybody who's been to prison before, this argument right here might be a little above your head. But for those who have served time, or those who are close to people who have served time, or if you're some avid watcher of life behind those walls, from the documentaries and videos that have been put out over the years, you will know that he's about to be a little fish in a big, deep sea of sharks and huge piranhas. I wish him all the best. I wish he had gotten the help he needed, but he didn't. And my wish is not going to change the outcome of what he must go through now. I can't even listen to the song or watch the video Whippin' Nae Nae no more. My daughter played that about 1 million times already. It was her favorite for the first 3 years of her life. It was her favorite song. So now when I tell her that he's grown and he's going to do 30 years in prison and she's 11 now, she looks at me with these crazed look in her eyes like, what? Are you serious? What did he do? Man, the moral of the story is, if you're going through something, don't be afraid to go seek some help. Don't let your situation overtake you and put you in a position where you end up like Silento. Life is funny like that. It was all good just not too long ago. And then suddenly, it won't be good for a long time to come. 30 years in. Wow. Do you agree with me when you look at his picture up against the wall with that stretched out neck of the t-shirt, that it looked like he looks victimized? He looks like somebody grabs him on a regular basis by his damn shirt, pull him wherever they want him to go. Look at the look on his face, in his eyes, and he has put on tremendous weight. Damn. Y'all say a prayer for Silento, man. I'll catch y'all on the next video. It's BrainFLoTv. I'm out. Peace.